Thank you. The website is our place of kind of ongoing research, and it is kind of where we're hosting all of this information. And there is a section on our website that isn't reflecting tonight because we're still building it and we're still populating, Aisha and I namely. But there's a section on our website that's downloadable material, and you'll be able to find a lot of this stuff and a lot of other really valuable information. There's also a section on like approximately 15 short videos that we've done on the history of urban development of Kuwait that include, like, you know, we're talking to Evie about like her work she's primarily an architect, but the work that she's done in the two palaces. We've spoken to Sabah Reis, we've spoken to Tariq Shaib, we've spoken to Dr. Fahad Luhabi, who's a former director here at the Kuwait National Museum, and it was really wonderful and interesting to hear so many different voices kind of articulate a similar history, or a history that they were all a part of. So that'll be available on our website as well. Have patience with us while we upload all of it. We're a team of 21 people, but we're in the thick of production. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That was very interesting. I really appreciated what I just saw. My name is Manaf Al-Hashi. I'd like to see the wonderful presentation you just presented as part of an overall broader exercise on the identity of Kuwait, something which not many have worked on, unfortunately, in this country. Nobody is quite sure what Kuwait stands for as an identity, although we know it and we perceive it as up in the air. We know what the values, the key values of Kuwait, what they are, but they're not documented or written in stone or any sort of meaningful money, unfortunately. Now, and I also appreciate the fact that you're taking your time and Kuwait's time to stop after such modernization for 100 years or whatever, and just to make an assessment of what has happened. But I don't like to see the presentation as a sort of exercise of lamentation on the demolition of the old structures of Kuwait or the old historical buildings, for the simple reason that many observers today, whether they are in Kuwait or outside Kuwait, believe or have, let me be the opponent's advocate. Many believe that Kuwait is not modern enough. So it's a message that is a little bit contrarian to your message. I don't mean to oppose or anything, but we'd like to, one of the things I'd like to see in your presentation, and I'm not an expert in the Bعنوان events, but it would be nice to also give a couple of options, strategic options, where Kuwait should go in terms of modernization in the context of the region, because we are embarrassingly behind many of our neighbors in terms of modernization. And you're saying a message that is a little bit opposite to what I just said. You're saying that you're demolishing too quickly and too aggressively. So where do we go from here? What sort of strategic options we need to adopt for the future, for our investment decisions, for our infrastructure plans? How can the architectural community be involved in this whole debate? Thank you.
Well, I think Kuwait is very is a lot more advanced than other Gulf countries, and I think that being modern has to do more with an attitude than actually your landscape. And going back to those images of the first Kuwait National Museum, the fact that we had a museum in the 1950s, like in 57, and we were thinking about how we looked at our own society, is testament to how advanced we are in this country compared to Qatar, that's suddenly going crazy over museums. There is a fantastic efforts happening in the UAE and in Qatar, but I think that we were very much influenced. I mean, Kuwait's has a much more cosmopolitan air to it, and always has been much more cosmopolitan than our Khaliji neighbors. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we're surrounded by huge cities like Baghdad and Tehran, and that really influenced us here in Kuwait, architecturally and also in terms of our attitude and how receptive we were to other cultures. I mean, Kuwait is very much at ease with other cultures, and people used to come here as if this was Paris. So I think modernity doesn't necessarily have to do with what's happening in terms of the landscape only, but a value system that I think we just need to be reminded of that, that we have that, and I think maybe one of the other researchers can answer. I mean, Aisha, you probably have a lot to say about that. I'm going to pull the researchers into this conversation because they're really fiery in our debates, and that today. Literally.
I guess I mean, I think the thing is basically the Kuwait, as I just said, maybe was more modern a lot earlier than our other counterparts, of course. And I think the thing is we have that history, but we ourselves don't even know. You saw the picture of the central bank. That was the bank in 1976. In 1985, less than 10 years, they started to change the way it looks. And this is a building by a very famous designer. If you go anywhere else in the world, you will find the building the way it actually is right now. But even us, I think even within the architectural community to a certain extent, didn't even know that this building looked like that, or even how it changed, or what caused it to change. And there's sort of like a gap in the knowledge, like I think Hassan and Ali were talking. I mean, we don't really have an archive. To find most of our information, we got it from somewhere else in the world. We didn't find it here because we don't really teach ourselves our history. We just kind of wash over it and glaze over it every single time. We dilute it whenever we want to. And that's a huge problem, personally, I think. And I'm sure a lot of people here agree with me. And I think it's part of we're trying to relearn our history the way it actually happened. We found out stories that, for example, we never knew. We found out about competitions that, me as someone who studied architecture here, in fact, wasn't even taught in school. And that's a problem. We don't even know our history. I mean, not many are architects here, but for example, Peter and Alison Smithson had a project here in Kuwait. And as a student, I didn't know that. I only knew that when I grew up and I researched that. And in the architectural world, the Smithsons they have a huge body of work. They have something called the MAT building, which they kind of developed based partly on a project in Kuwait, and that's something that is ongoing now. I mean, it's a term. And we don't know that history. We don't know that we have sort of the legacy. And I think what Hassan was saying about demolition is that we have to understand how these buildings happen and why they happen before we start to change them or redress them. Of course, change is bound to happen. This change has to be for the better and not to just wash over things and say, it's easy for us to say, okay, we started as mud brick and look at where we are now. But it's hard for us to think about, the process in between. And, everyone was happy when all of these things were happening, and we seem to also kind of forget that.
But we should also not forget the rapid transformation that happened when the first master plan took place. All the inhabitants of the old cities were shifted to absolutely new living conditions. And from that, there was a rapid jump. And while everyone was looking at the bright modern future, people's individual lives were affected. And this is something that I think could have been studied further, could have been observed. I mean, you had one story we heard was the people who were used to sleeping on the rooftops of their houses when they moved to the new house with air conditioning. They slept on the balcony. They were not used to the air conditioning. They were not used to these new conditions. They were not used to the quiet of not having a neighbor right on the other side of your wall. These are all very particular instances and conditions that were sort of glossed over just like everything else.
Yes, we have a few questions. Actually, I don't have a question. I had a comment that I wanted to build on this discussion and on Manap's a very important question, and I think building off of what everyone just said. And I think this is why it is sort of a lamentation on the demolition. It's not just about, lamenting demolition for the sake of fetishizing the buildings that are being demolished, but about because with demolition comes forgetting and erasure, and we're forgetting that Kuwait was very modern, and this wasn't just an imported modernity or an acquired modernity as we're discussing here, but this was also a modernity that was internalized in Kuwait by the people who were going through that era. So when we demolish these buildings, like we've just lost the very beautiful and architecturally unique Chamber of Commerce, but with that we're forgetting what that era stood for and represented in Kuwait's history. And as a historian myself and as an urban historian, I think that that's a real shame. Like Aisha was saying, we don't know our own history. We don't learn. Me as a Kuwaiti urban historian, I learned everything that I write about now abroad while I was doing my research outside of Kuwait. So this is so important, what this project is doing, having these kinds of discussions, but also understanding that demolition is more than just about erasing buildings. It does become about erasing our own history and our own memory of what that era stood for in Kuwait and where it puts us on the map in relation to our neighbors. And there is the sense that Kuwait's somehow falling behind. Kuwait is not as modern as its neighbors. But I like what you said, that in modernity isn't just about the landscape. It's about something much deeper, and we're forgetting that because we're losing our reference points in the landscape around us.
Exactly.
So very important.
And we've really inconvenienced a lot of people with this project, and I see a lot of faces tonight of people that we've harassed, and so we're sort of implicating a lot of people in this project, but not out of malice, but because we want people to get on board with this idea. I mean, like it would be unforgivable to demolish Green Island. Like that is unacceptable, and. Noodles, we've been at your house like so many times asking you to let us see your father's archives, and it's when we come back from Venice, we want to continue kind of like developing awareness around this project. But 22 kilometers of public space need to be preserved, and Green Island also with that. And I was just there last week, and I noticed that they turned off the water fountains, and it was it was chilling. Because what it means is something's about to happen, isn't it? Yeah.
If you'll allow me to intervene in the front row, Aya.
Thank you, sir.
Hi.
I will now speak in English. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Ali Yoha, National Council, His Excellency, Italian Embassy, representatives of the United Real Estate Company, for everything you put into this. And of course, lastly, this incredible team representing Kuwait and Venezia this year. That said, I wanted to reiterate what Farah mentioned just now about demolition. Using the word modernity makes me very nervous because there is a sort of misunderstanding about the use of modernity, I believe, in general. When we talk about modernity, when we speak about modernity, I think it works in parallel with the idea of capitalism and about how we address capitalism in the world. Now, I feel more comfortable with using the word enlightenment rather than modernity. Why? Because enlightenment, as a term of reference, refers more to the social evolution of our consciousness. What, as a national identity, how we view our national identity in the long term, and how we take this understanding of our national identity, and then perhaps utilize it to share a united front or to draw a united understanding of what it means to be modern in this time and age. So I think enlightenment comes before modernity, and I think this is what Kuwait has been doing, and I think what your team has been doing as well in the last year is enlightening us, providing us with this data that will provide a platform for further evolution of what it means to have an overall social understanding of our landscape, or the platform that we're addressing today.
I had a question that I found very interesting from your presentation. You're talking about preserving heritage, and I thought it was very interesting when we talked about how the National Museum used to be under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Education. And that, for me, was interesting, not so much as whose jurisdiction it was, but because it looks at the way we classify things like preserving our heritage, whether it be certain sites or museums. We have our research team talking to us today about how we learn everything a lot about Kuwait history, about urban planning in Kuwait, about the architecture, the previous architecture in Kuwait and what it meant to Kuwait, and unfortunately we learned that abroad. So I was wondering if the team studied the shift when it, heritage sites in Kuwait and the museums were under the Ministry of Education and what that meant to society, and versus the shift to now, and whether or not you felt that that changed the way that people look at what we view as our history.
Yeah, that's the moment exactly when the National Council went from being the education and museums, from operating under the Ministry of Education to operating under the Ministry of Communication. I don't exactly know the turning point, but I think that our department is a fantastic department inside of the National Council, and Mr. Ali Lior is here tonight, and Shihab as well, and I think it's their efforts that have really transformed. I mean, I'm proud to say that I belong to the Heritage and Restoration Department of the National Council, because within the government it really is an exceptional place, and I think that that kind of educational value is retained in our department especially, and I mean there might have been some losses, but I think that our department does an exceptional job of trying to communicate a pedagogical mission. You know, a year and 3 months ago, Zahra and a couple of colleagues at the National Council established a lecture series, and that was meant to be a public educational kind of thing. And our participation in Venice is largely educational. I mean, compared to other countries participating in Venice, it's funny, we're a super young group. And people tell us this when we go there, like, other countries have dinosaurs for curators, you know? And they're like, mashallah, great, you guys are super young. And it's really scary, but like, so in Kuwait, it's seen as an attempt to kind of, you know, get people thinking around the subject. And so it has a very strong educational objective, this project. And I kind of all over the place. But I don't, maybe Shab, do you know when it went from being education to being Wasada? The National Council went for... Yeah, but it, and in the 90s it went, but yeah, I don't know. There was something really nice when the Kuwait National Museum, especially the museums in Felika, the way that they dealt with that heritage. We did it like a 3-hour Shakir. Where are you, Shakir? Shakir and I went to Mr. Tariq Rajab's house the day before he traveled for knee surgery. And like I said, we've inconvenienced so many people. But we were like, we have to do this interview with you about the history of museums in Kuwait and what you were doing on the island of Felika. And it was really interesting, his kind of way of dealing with heritage. You know, he was interested in establishing a museum in a chalet of Sheikh Abdullah Salim. And part of the mission to keep this place alive was obviously populating it, but keeping it also, like, every year they redid the mud mortar, and so keeping the technique alive as well, you know, and that I found really fascinating, and the people who worked in the museum were the people who also kept it clean and maintained it. There was no maintenance staff. I mean, the curatorial team was the help, you know. It was really nicely kept within the family and kind of beautiful.
What Rita mentioned about the role of education, the Ministry of Education, and what Mr. Madri mentioned as well about the evolution of architecture and how it pertains to our current states of being. I think it's very pertinent and it's very crucial that when we talk about modernity, it works in parallel with enlightenment. I think it has to work because what we're seeing in our Gulf counterparts is what's happening is there's an imbalance between modernity that refers directly to capitalism and enlightenment. So we're seeing there's a lack, perhaps, in some parts of enlightenment. And in Kuwait, I'm very happy to report that, alhamdulillah, and you have made that very apparent today, that we are very enlightened, as our youth population is very much so. And so we are very happy now to take this platform of enlightenment and we have to start building in a modern way. So I think that's the point I think is misunderstood.
I'd like to add that this is a great opportunity for architects and researchers to try to understand this research that we've collected, this space, and to see what happened. Why is it that we rejected modernity during the 80s, and how, and what is it that part of our identity that wants to stay, that's clinging to the ground, and what part of it wants to leave. So it's a great opportunity to start questioning these and implement them into new architecture, into new building types, into new environments.
Thank you for the great work. One of the things that we have to consider in the Bعنوان is the audiences. Who is going to visit it? And this is an international community that come from all over, tourists and artists and architects. If this was a history class, a theory class, I would accept that what has been going on. A lot of information collected, period. I don't see the approach of presentation that would take place in this. When I go to a pavilion, I want to see some sort of delight and celebration. How are you going to do that?
Well, did you see the rendering of the pavilion? Did you see that slide? The rendering of what we're with the two columns. It's a sort of it's so like I said, for Venice, it's wild, isn't it? There's approximately 2,000 people visiting the space every day. That's what's been counted. It's and it's exhausting. I mean, you're going through 52. I don't know if you're able to put that on there. Are you able to? It was the rendering where there was the columns from the courtyard, and there's a drawing of the architect, one of the original drawings of the Kuwait National Museum, sort of surrounding or wrapped around the space. But basically, what we're doing is we're recreating kind of the courtyard situation of the Kuwait National Museum in our pavilion, and we're restaging the opening to kind of go back in that moment in time and said, if we could start again, how could we maybe give meaning to these headlines that were suggested by the architect? And so what does it mean? Like, what is the meaning of man of Kuwait? What is the meaning of land of Kuwait? What is the meaning of Kuwait of today and tomorrow? And try to kind of populate those headlines with information. The information will not be displayed in the space because we agreed that would be really overwhelming. And for a visitor that had just gone through 52 pavilions, there's really no kind of ability to take it in, right? And so we focused on making our pavilion sort of an immersive space and inviting, with clues, the visitor to visit our website, to obtain a publication, to visit the joint installation with the Nordic Pavilion, and to look forward to this film that would travel. What will happen inside? For the opening, we're having a big celebration. So we're restaging, hence the photographs, hence the banners. You know, there's the documentation that exists around the Kuwait National Museum is also mostly around celebrations, and we found that kind of very peculiar. You know, like the only time you see like the museum documented is for the visit of Princess Diana, the opening, and so we're restaging the opening and kind of calling the starting point. And there's a sound installation that kind of reminds people of a sort of celebration, and that's what's happening in the pavilion. Is that underwhelming for a lot of you? No?
I think that it's a very interesting question to ask about being in the space and trying to understand what you're getting from it. I think that this is a very big project that doesn't aim to tell everybody everything. The project, as we've said before in other discussions, isn't just for the people in Venice. It's for us, it's for Kuwait, it's for discussion. And so, like Ali has said, it is one moment of visibility. It's a moment where we are present in an international participation, but it exceeds more than that. And I think that articulation in that space doesn't need to be overwhelming and overfed, but I think that a proper articulation of the multiple components of our project will hopefully do justice or kind of make that a cohesive, full, large, smart body of work, not just for the 2 minutes that you walk through one space.
Right, because we don't really need another facade, you know? So the project's kind of, yeah, it's obsessively local. It's more for us here in Kuwait than it is for, I know it's like a super high profile and an international event, but it's exactly like Amara was saying.
I have a question over here. Yes. My name is Tanner. I have a question about the space. It seems that tourism has a lot to do with bringing, with extending the inside outside. What's been successful in Kuwait is bringing the outside inside. So that's somehow a factor into the fact that we are trying to recreate or capitalize that space in this.
Oh, you mean so? Yeah, I thought you were talking about the inside outside, like literally. Did you understand that?
He's saying if you referred to that in the design of the
We were
building.
with the title "Acquiring Modernity." We did refer to that idea of like importing, but we also mean acquiring in the sense of like learning. You know, acquiring is not only about kind of purchasing things, but kind of acquiring meaning and acquiring kind of an understanding for something or a taste. And so that our title, our reciprocal title, has that double meaning. The inside outside, I think that the courtyard space in the Kuwait National Museum compound is the most successful space of this building, and it's a place where you're able to look at the kind of the four buildings in the planetarium and reflect on their role and the role of the institution, and that's what we're doing in Venice. Now we've got the facade there, we've got the headlines. Now let's think about how we can repopulate the space to make it a healthy, functioning space. I hope that answers your question.
One more question.
More people and about the fast evolution of the city and leaving behind a lot of empty spaces, which I feel sad too, voice. Is there a master plan? Do you have a master plan for the city?
You wrote on what? That's your subject. Is there a current one? And you want to talk about how many master plans there have been?
Well, there's always a master plan. One master plan continues into the other.
We don't feel it.
Huh?
We don't feel the master plan.
That's true, because it's never allowed to carry through till the end. The latest master plans are about human development, social development, economic development. And maybe by taking that approach and thinking about humans, maybe they can come later on and help build a better built environment.
Right, the master plans are at such a large scale that you oversee it. You oversee the Kuwait's plan, the land of Kuwait. So it was not the same.
Actually, first of all, I want to echo everyone's comment about what a great job you're doing. In terms of master plan, we don't have proper urban, planning in Kuwait. And if we want to see enlightenment to continue and be effective, then we need to have the youth and we need to have young people with drive and with vision in urban planning committees of the government and probably in boardrooms, companies, and in the corporate world that funds collaboration, as you mentioned, between the private and the public sector. Because at the end of the day, given the examples that you've given in some of these developments, yes, there's a commercial aspect, as always, in the real world, the private sector especially, is the most dominating factor. And that, unfortunately, supersedes and dominates sustainability and how we impact the environment that we are in the architectural form. So, as for the government, that's a whole different story. So, that's a lot less fun. So, we need proper development. Thank you.
So we should have one more house. There's a couple of people here.
Let Lydia talk for a second. So.
I want to let
Just one small comment. I started to follow the issue from the very beginning. Physically, I went to Venice to say the time was arrived to have Kuwait as part of the Biennale. So I'm very happy to see how much you have been, how much work in these last 2 years you did. So this is the first thing, and congratulate all of you. The second point is, I came from a country which has several thousands of visitors, which has some monuments everywhere in our cities. And so this kind of debate is our daily bread. And I'm very, very happy that laBiennale of Venice can help all of you to touch with your hands that this kind of debate we all need to have better environment, better cities, better vision of what human beings they can live in their spaces. So I'm really happy that such a group of commitment of young who are so committed in this project are involved, and I really wish you all the best. Keep going, keep working like that. Thank you.
We'll take the last comment. I think a question. Bennett, yeah, the last.
Yes, I'd like to add something. First, thank you very much for the presentation. It was so good to hear and to read all the people about the work. So enthusiastic about this. But just like to say that this should be just the beginning. And I hope that the Biennale will not be the end of this effort, and that this will spread into other institutions, not just into the research and archives, because that's not enough. In Kuwait, that needs to go beyond, to go to laBiennale, to go to ministries, to go to other organizations, to understand and realize and place there who are decision makers or grantors of any competition or any approval of the designs or renovation of the coaching, to understand all this. Because only like that, this will fulfill its own meaning. The Biennale is one point in time, but everything else will have to be later on. Yeah, in Kuwait, there have been 3 master plans, major ones done. And they were all important because the teams who worked, they didn't have sensibility of this city. And luckily now there is a huge number of young architects, young force who is well educated, who is enthusiastic, and who should be on board either in the real estate or in the authorities or in the government and the private offices to take forward all this and to take hold of the city. Because also, yes, not to forget what was built. Kuwait has beautiful architectural legacies also, which came with the Modernity, which came with the money and the funds, and that should be celebrated. I mean, we have buildings from all the major architects of that era, starting from Venezia or John or anybody else who you mentioned already. And those buildings luck in Venice. I just hope that this will continue.
Thank you, Lee, for your comment. Our last, Louis, I would like to say a word.
I just want to ask a question to follow up on what Mr. Mohammed Safar was saying. How did the private and public sector team up together to create a sustainable environment in Kuwait, a sustainable future?
How can they, or how have they in this project, or?
How can they? Like, how can we move forward from where we are today?
I was just gonna say.
A lot of discussion, a lot of thinking, and a lot of collaboration. I don't think you can easily pick an answer. Like you can't easily give an answer for a question like that.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming.
Thank you so much.
ضيوفنا الأعزاء نشكركم على الدعم والحضور. نراكم مرة أخرى في فينيس إن شاء الله. والآن تفضلوا على كرسي العشاء. Dear guests, thank you for your attendance and support, and thank you AUK for documenting this event. It will be uploaded on the website for us to see. We wish to see you again. We wish to see you again at Venice. The website for our future Kuwait is AOK.com. The website for Acquiring Modernity, our pavilion is www.acquiringmodernity.com. If you can list your name, I know it's being uploaded. It will be ready for the opening June 4th to 7th. If you can just quick add your name to the mailing list, we'll send you daily updates. And that's it. Thanks for coming. Please use the main exit for the dinner buffet.
So I let us down. You're okay? I felt like I rushed through everything. It's okay?
No, it's okay. جوايد
حلو. لا بالعكس good luck. لا beautiful. مشكور. لا
Thank you guys.
لا عليك كفو.
ما أكلم وايد.
حلو بالعكس حلو. يعطيك العافية.
Thank you so much. راح تاكلون؟ تاكلون ويانا؟
لا بروح. يعطيكم العافية. عندي محاضرة باخذ عليها معاكم. والله داعيني ناس.
Thank you. Thanks. Great comments though. Thanks so much. Very